You keep waiting for someone to help you, to notice your struggle, to open a door for you. But let me tell you a painful truth. No one is coming. No one will save you. The world doesn't stop for your pain. You either rise or you stay forgotten. As pause for effect. Make eye contact with the audience. And that's not bad news, that's freedom. Because the moment you realize no one will save you, you stop waiting and start building. Most people live their lives in a constant state of waiting. They wait for the perfect time, the right conditions, or someone to come along and guide them towards success. They say things like, I'll start when I'm ready, or I just need one good chance. But here's the brutal truth. You will never feel ready, and that perfect moment you're waiting for will never come. The world doesn't pause to give you an ideal environment. Opportunities are not invitations that arrive in gold envelopes. They are storms that pass by once. And only those bold enough to step into the rain get to experience what's beyond. Every second you spend waiting is a second someone else spends working. And that's why they move ahead while you remain stuck. Think about it. The greatest ideas in the world die inside people who never take action. They spend years talking about their goals, writing them down, dreaming about them, and visualizing success, but they never move. They wait for the fear to go away, not realizing that fear never leaves. It simply changes shape. The difference between dreamers and doers is not intelligence, luck, or talent. It's action. The dreamer imagines what could happen, while the doer risks failure to see what will happen. You might fail when you act, yes, but you definitely lose when you don't. Action doesn't guarantee success, but inaction guarantees regret. You don't need permission to start improving yourself. You don't need a big break, a lucky moment, or someone's approval. You need courage, the courage to start small and start now. Many people spend years believing that life will one day get better. They believe that if they just wait a little longer, something magical will happen. A promotion, a connection, a lucky opportunity. But here's what they never realize: life gets better only when you do. Every major change begins with a small, uncomfortable step forward. No one ever feels completely ready to chase a dream, to start a business, to speak up, or to make a change. Everyone starts with doubts and insecurities. That's part of the process. The secret is not waiting for confidence to appear. It's building confidence by taking action. Confidence is not a feeling, it's a result. You act first, and the confidence follows later. That's why successful people don't waste time asking, can I do this? They ask, what happens if I try? Waiting is disguised fear. When you say, I'm waiting for the right time, what you really mean is, I'm scared to fail. Fear of failure, fear of judgment, fear of not being good enough. These are the invisible walls that hold most people back. But what's worse than failing? Regretting that you never tried. Regret is a heavier burden than failure will ever be. When you fail, you learn. When you regret, you rot inside. You must understand that every successful person has failed. Some have failed more times than you've even tried. But they never waited. They used failure as a teacher, not a punishment. The only real failure in life is standing still while time moves forward without you. Here's the truth. Action creates clarity. When you move, even a little, you start to see what works and what doesn't. When you stay still, everything becomes blurry and confusing. You start doubting your path, your worth, and your purpose. The mind becomes your enemy because it has nothing real to focus on. But the moment you take a step, even if it's small, momentum begins. The universe responds to movement. Doors that seemed locked suddenly open. People notice your energy. Ideas connect. Opportunities align. But none of this happens while you're waiting. The energy of your life starts the moment you stop making excuses and begin to move, no matter how uncertain the path looks. And remember this, you can't learn everything before you start. Experience will teach you lessons that no book, no course, and no mentor can give. You learn best when you're in motion. Every mistake, every wrong turn, every rejection gives you information that helps you improve. The first step doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be real. Don't let perfection become your prison. Progress, not perfection, should be your obsession. Even a slow start is better than standing still. Even one action a day compounds into massive change over time. People who win in life are not necessarily smarter. They're simply faster at acting on their ideas. They don't wait for a mood or a sign. They trust themselves enough to begin. So if you're waiting for someone to push you, this is it. This is your push. Stop waiting for the light to turn green in all directions. It never will. Start driving toward your goals now and figure it out as you go. You'll make mistakes, you'll get lost, and you'll doubt yourself. But at least you'll be moving. The most dangerous place in life is not failure, it's comfort. Waiting feels safe, but it silently kills your potential. Action feels scary, but it leads to transformation. You will never find your purpose sitting still. You'll find it walking the path. So stop waiting. Start acting. Your future is built today, not someday. Every person who fails to reach their potential has a story. A beautiful, convincing story about why they couldn't make it. I didn't have the resources. I didn't get the support. I was too busy. I'm not lucky like others. These excuses sound logical, even comforting, but they are nothing more than beautiful lies we tell ourselves to protect our egos from pain. Excuses make failure feel softer, easier to live with. But the truth, every time you tell yourself an excuse, you trade growth for comfort. You trade your potential for peace of mind. You avoid the sting of responsibility. And that's why so many people stay stuck. You cannot grow while lying to yourself. You cannot build a strong life on weak stories. Excuses are like invisible walls. They don't exist in reality. They only exist in your mind. But once you believe them, they become stronger than steel. You start to live within the limits of your own story. You tell yourself, I can't do this because I'm too old, or can't try that because I failed once before. These are not facts. They are fears disguised as logic. The mind is clever. It protects you from discomfort by creating reasons to avoid it. That's why the first step to success isn't action, it's honesty. Be brutally honest with yourself about what's stopping you. Most of the time, it's not lack of money, not lack of time, not lack of support, it's lack of courage. The world is full of people with less than you who still make it happen because they refuse to accept their excuses as truth. When you look closely, you'll notice that excuses are addictive. Once you use one, it becomes easier to use another. Before long, you build a habit, a mindset that automatically looks for reasons why, not instead of reasons how to. And that mindset kills dreams silently. You start to admire those who succeed, call them lucky, and tell yourself they had advantages you didn't. But what you don't see is the truth. They had excuses too, but they didn't use them. They faced fear, pain, rejection, and failure just like you. The difference is that they decided to move forward despite it. The moment you stop defending your limitations, you free yourself from them. Excuses protect your pride, but they destroy your future. You can't choose both. Think about how powerful the word responsibility really is. The moment you take responsibility for your life, something changes inside you. You stop being a victim. You stop blaming your parents, your boss, your country, your luck, and you start looking at what you can control. Taking responsibility is not about blaming yourself. It's about claiming your power. You can't control the economy, but you can control your work ethic. You can't control other people, but you can control your attitude. You can't change the past, but you can change how you use it. The world will always be unfair in some way. Some will have more support, others less. But once you stop using that as an excuse, you gain something more valuable than fairness: freedom. The freedom to rise despite the odds. Excuses are comfortable because they keep you safe. Safe from risk, safe from judgment, safe from failure. But comfort is a slow death. It's the reason millions of people live average lives while holding extraordinary potential. They convince themselves that it's not their fault, that it's too late, that life just didn't give them the right cards. But if you're breathing, it's not too late. If you can think, you can learn. If you can learn, you can change. Your future doesn't depend on your excuses. It depends on your willingness to fight them. Every excuse you destroy adds another brick to the foundation of your growth. Every time you catch yourself saying, I can't, replace it with, how can I? That one small shift in language rewires your entire mindset. The moment you stop lying to yourself, your life begins to change. Remember this, excuses are easy, effort is hard. But only effort builds results. You can choose to tell yourself that things are impossible, or you can choose to try and prove yourself wrong. Every successful person you admire has a backstory full of challenges, rejection, poverty, illness, failure, but they refuse to let those become their identity. They didn't deny their struggle, they just refused to make it an excuse. That's what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Everyone suffers, everyone faces setbacks, but some use those setbacks as fuel, while others use them as justification to stop trying. Which one are you? The one who builds reasons or the one who builds results? So the next time you hear yourself saying, "I don't have time," ask yourself honestly, do you really not have time? Or are you just not making it a priority? When you say, "I can't afford it," ask yourself, is it truly impossible? Or are you unwilling to sacrifice something else to get it? Excuses will always feel real, because they come dressed as truth. But your future doesn't care about how convincing your excuses sound. It only cares about what you do. Your growth begins the moment you stop explaining your limitations and start exploring your possibilities. You don't need more time, more help, or more luck. You just need more honesty. And once you stop lying to yourself, nothing can stop you again. One of the hardest truths to accept in life is this: the world owes you nothing. Not your parents, not your friends, not your boss, not society. No one. It doesn't matter where you were born, how tough your childhood was, or how many people overlooked you. Life doesn't hand out success as a reward for suffering. It gives it only to those who create value. The moment you understand this, you stop expecting life to be fair, and you start focusing on becoming strong. Because fairness is an illusion, strength is reality. You can waste years feeling that life treated you unfairly, or you can use that same time to build something powerful enough that no one can ignore you again. We live in a world where many people believe they deserve something: a better job, more recognition, more opportunities, simply because they've struggled. But life doesn't pay you for effort, it pays you for results. It doesn't care how long you've been trying, it cares about how well you adapt, how much you learn, and how much you deliver. Harsh, yes, but true. The world doesn't slow down to make space for your feelings. It rewards those who can solve problems, not those who complain about them. The more you depend on external validation, the more powerless you become. The moment you stop expecting the world to give and start asking yourself, what can I give? That's when you begin to grow beyond ordinary limits. Entitlement is a quiet poison. It starts small. You feel you deserve a break, a promotion, or recognition. You start to compare your effort to others, thinking, I worked harder than them, so why did they get it? But life doesn't measure fairness the way you do. Some people start ahead. Some people get lucky. Some people have advantages you never will. But guess what? Complaining about it won't change it. Comparing yourself won't improve it. The only way to level the playing field is by getting better, sharper, smarter, more valuable. The world doesn't care how long you've waited. It cares about what you can bring to the table right now. If you're not creating value, the world moves on, not because it's cruel, but because that's how progress works. When you think the world owes you something, you give away your power. You start to believe your destiny is controlled by others. The government, your boss, your circumstances. That mindset keeps you weak. You stop trying because you think your failure isn't your fault. You wait for someone to fix things, to notice your effort, to give you what you deserve. But here's the truth. No one is coming to save you. No one's job is to make your life easier. You are responsible for building your own opportunity. The day you accept this is the day your mindset changes from, why is this happening to me? To, what can I do about it? That's when you step out of the victim mindset and step into the mindset of ownership. And ownership is the foundation of all success. The moment you stop expecting the world to owe you, you start to see it for what it really is, a massive, open playing field full of possibilities. But to win, you have to play the game differently. Instead of demanding recognition, create undeniable results. Instead of asking for support, make yourself so valuable that people want to support you. Instead of chasing fairness, chase excellence. When you're good enough, the world can't ignore you, no matter your background, your accent, your age, or your failures. The world may not owe you anything, but it always rewards value. Every hour you spend complaining could have been spent learning. Every time you say, I deserve more, you could instead be saying, I will earn more. One keeps you stuck, the other moves you forward. You can't control how people treat you, but you can control how you respond. You can't control opportunities, but you can create them through consistency, learning, and action. Success is not given, it's built. Every skill you learn, every habit you form, every time you push yourself a little harder, you're building value. And value is the currency of life. When you become valuable, the world pays attention. When you create something others need, ideas, solutions, inspiration, the world rewards you. That's why the most powerful people aren't the ones who demand the most, they're the ones who give the most. Stop asking what the world owes you and start asking what you can offer the world that's worth something. So stop thinking that anyone will hand you your dream because you deserve it. Deserving doesn't build results. Discipline does. Stop thinking success will knock on your door just because you've been patient. It won't. The world doesn't owe you respect, money, or happiness. But it does offer you a chance, a fair chance to earn all of them. That's the beauty of this truth. When you realize the world owes you nothing, you stop waiting and you start building. You stop blaming and you start learning. You stop feeling powerless and you start creating power. Because the world may not owe you anything, but it will always reward the person who never stops improving. When life gets hard, most people look for sympathy. They want to be seen, to be understood, to be comforted. And yes, there's nothing wrong with needing support. But the problem begins when comfort becomes your goal and growth becomes your option. You can't improve your life while chasing pity. Sympathy might ease your pain for a moment, but it will never fix your situation. The world may feel sorry for you, but it won't stop to carry you. If you want to change your life, you must stop collecting pity and start collecting skills. Because in this world, skills are power. Skills don't just help you survive, they help you create freedom, confidence, and opportunity. Everyone faces struggle, everyone has pain. But some people use pain as an excuse, while others use it as fuel. Those who chase pity want people to understand how hard life is for them. Those who chase skill want to understand how far they can go despite it. That's the difference between staying stuck and becoming unstoppable. The truth is, the world doesn't reward your struggle. It rewards your strength. People respect results, not reasons. You can talk for hours about how unfair your situation is, and maybe people will nod and agree. But in the end, the world keeps moving. The only way to make it stop and notice you is by becoming so good they can't ignore you. Skills are the great equalizer. It doesn't matter where you come from, how poor you were, or what others think of you. When you have real skill, the world needs you. Look around. People with valuable skills never beg for attention or opportunities. Opportunities come to them. That's the difference between dependency and power. Dependency says, I hope someone helps me. Power says, I've worked so hard on myself that people want to work with me. You can't build that power through pity. You build it through discipline, repetition, failure, and learning. Every hour spent feeling sorry for yourself could be spent improving something that will one day pay you back 1,000 times more. Let's be honest, it's easier to complain than to practice. It's easier to say, nobody gives me a chance, than to wake up early and get better at something. But complaining doesn't change your position. Skill does. Every minute you waste explaining your pain could have been used mastering a skill that frees you from that pain forever. If you're broke, learn a skill that makes you valuable. If you're lost, learn something that gives you direction. If you're ignored, learn something that makes you stand out. The world doesn't respond to your emotions, it responds to your abilities. Skills speak louder than your story. So instead of saying, I wish someone noticed me, say, I'll become so skilled that they can't afford to ignore me. You don't need to learn everything at once. Just start with one thing, one skill, one habit, one small area where you can improve consistently. Every expert was once a beginner who refused to quit. Every master once felt lost and uncertain. Just like you. The difference, they didn't look for sympathy when things got tough. They looked for strategy. They studied, practiced, failed, and improved. They replaced self-pity with self-discipline. That's how you grow. That's how you take control of your future. If you want people to respect you, stop asking for their pity. Earn their respect through what you can do. Because pity fades fast, but respect lasts forever. Here's the truth. Skills give you freedom. The more you learn, the less you have to beg. The more you grow, the less you have to wait for others. When you build skills, you create your own value. And value attracts everything you've been chasing: money, opportunity, confidence, purpose. Pity gives you temporary comfort. Skills give you permanent power. So stop saying, "I wish my life were easier." Instead say, "I wish I were better," and then work on becoming better. Read, practice, fail, and try again. Learn how to sell, how to speak, how to write, how to lead, how to build. Every new skill you gain adds another weapon to your arsenal. One day, those skills will build the life you used to only dream about. So, when life feels unfair, don't ask, "Why me?" Ask, "What can I learn from this?" Don't wish for people to feel sorry for you. Wish for the strength to keep going. Don't waste time hoping for understanding. Use that time to become undeniable. Because in this world, pity fades, but skills stay. Pity makes people forget you. Skill makes them remember your name. Every great story of success began when someone stopped crying for help and started building their ability. That's how you change your life, not through tears, but through transformation. You don't need pity, you need power. And real power comes only from one place: the skills you build when no one is watching. Everyone loves to talk about motivation. It's exciting, it's emotional, and it feels powerful. We watch motivational videos, read inspiring quotes, and for a few moments, we feel unstoppable. But here's the truth. Motivation is a spark, not a fire. It burns bright for a second, then disappears when life gets hard. Discipline, on the other hand, is the fire that never goes out. It's not loud, it's not glamorous, but it's what separates those who dream from those who achieve. If you rely on motivation, you'll quit the moment it fades. But if you build discipline, you'll keep going long after the excitement is gone. Motivation makes you start. Discipline makes you finish. Think about how many times you felt inspired to change your life. You made a plan, set goals, even felt confident for a few days. But then life got busy, distractions came, and you lost that spark. That's the trap of motivation. It depends on your mood, and moods change. Discipline doesn't care how you feel. It's the decision to do what needs to be done, even when you don't want to. You may not always feel like working out, studying, or pushing forward, but discipline says, do it anyway. Because successful people don't wait for perfect conditions. They create them through consistent action. People often say, "I need to get motivated." No, you don't. You need to get disciplined. Motivation is temporary. Discipline is a habit. You can't build your future on emotions. You must build it on commitment. Discipline means showing up every single day, even when it's boring, even when no one's watching, even when there's no reward in sight. It's brushing your teeth for your mind. Not exciting, but necessary. Discipline is doing small things repeatedly until they turn into big results. The truth is, success doesn't come from massive effort once in a while. It comes from small effort every single day. And that's something only discipline can create. Let's be honest, motivation feels good because it's emotional. It gives you a rush. It makes you feel like change is easy. But discipline feels hard because it's rational. It asks you to act without feeling ready, to move without reward, to work without applause. That's why most people chase motivation. It's exciting. But the people who truly win in life don't chase feelings. They chase results. They wake up early not because they're inspired, but because they made a promise to themselves. They work late not because they're in the mood, but because they know consistency compounds. Motivation is about feelings. Discipline is about standards. And if you raise your standards, your life will rise with them. Discipline is freedom disguised as effort. Most people think being disciplined means being restricted, but it's the opposite. When you are disciplined, you control your habits instead of your habits controlling you. You control your time instead of wasting it. You control your future instead of leaving it to luck. Discipline doesn't limit you, it liberates you. Because the moment you stop being ruled by your emotions, you start ruling your life. You don't need to feel inspired to do the right thing. You just need to make a choice and repeat that choice until it becomes part of who you are. That's how champions are built, not through emotional highs, but through silent, consistent discipline. The truth is, discipline is not natural, it's trained. Nobody wakes up wanting to do hard things. You train your discipline by doing small, uncomfortable tasks until discomfort becomes normal. It starts with waking up when you said you would. It starts with keeping promises to yourself. Every time you say, I'll do it later, and actually do it now, your discipline grows stronger. Every time you push through laziness or fear, you prove to yourself that you're in control. Discipline is built through pain, but it's the kind of pain that builds pride. Because when you finally see results, you'll realize it was never motivation that got you there. It was every boring, difficult, consistent day that no one saw. So stop chasing motivation. It's a visitor. It comes and goes. But discipline is family. It stays. Motivation makes you talk. Discipline makes you act. Motivation makes promises. Discipline keeps them. If you want to build a life of success, freedom, and respect, stop waiting to feel ready. You'll never feel ready. The day you stop needing to feel like it and start doing it anyway, that's the day you take control of your destiny. Motivation whispers, maybe tomorrow. Discipline says, now. And now is the only time anything ever gets done. Most people spend their whole lives waiting for someone to come and save them. A mentor, a friend, a boss, a partner, a miracle. They wait for a helping hand that will lift them out of the struggle. But here's the hard truth, no one is coming. No one will fight your battles for you. No one will hand you the life you dream of. The sooner you understand that, the faster you'll grow. You can have support, you can have guidance, but at the end of the day, you are the only person responsible for changing your life. The world doesn't owe you rescue. It offers you responsibility. And that responsibility is your greatest gift because it means your destiny is in your hands. We live in a generation that's constantly searching for shortcuts. People want instant solutions, instant fame, instant comfort. But the real world doesn't work that way. There is no app that can download character. There is no friend who can transfer discipline. You can't outsource your own growth. You can't skip the struggle and still expect strength. Every person who has ever built a meaningful life did it by becoming their own rescue plan, by refusing to wait for permission or pity. They stopped asking, who will help me? And started asking, what can I do right now to help myself? That's the question that changes everything. Being your own rescue plan means taking complete ownership of your situation, not just the good parts, but the bad ones too. It means admitting that maybe your past decisions brought you here, but your future decisions can take you somewhere better. It means stopping the blame game. No more blaming parents, teachers, society, or luck. Because when you blame others, you give them control. When you take ownership, you take your power back. Maybe people hurt you. Maybe life was unfair. Maybe you got left behind. But that doesn't mean you have to stay broken. The world is full of people who turned pain into power simply because they stopped waiting and started building. When you decide to rescue yourself, something powerful happens. You stop depending on others for your happiness. You stop begging for attention, validation, or support. You stop waiting for a sign to start moving. Instead, you create your own sign, your own reason, your own momentum. You realize that no one can truly understand your vision the way you do. No one else knows what you're capable of. That's why waiting for people to believe in you is a waste of time. Don't wait for anyone to validate your dream. Prove it through action. Every time you take a step on your own, even a small one, you're sending a message to the world. I don't need saving. I'm saving myself. Being your own rescue plan doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means leading your own life. You can still learn from others, still accept help when it's offered, but you don't depend on it. You stay grounded in the truth that the ultimate responsibility is yours. If someone helps you, great. If they don't, you move forward anyway. You can't let other people's lack of support become your excuse. Because if your success depends on someone else's approval, it's not your success, it's theirs. You are not helpless. You are not powerless. You have a mind that can learn, a body that can act, and a will that can endure. That's enough to begin. When you become your own rescue plan, you change the way you see problems. Challenges no longer feel like punishment. They become opportunities to test your strength. Rejection doesn't break you. It teaches you resilience. Failure doesn't end you. It shapes you. Every time life knocks you down, you get up a little stronger, a little wiser. That's what personal powers looks like. Not never falling, but never staying down. The truth is, people who depend on others for rescue remain weak forever. People who rescue themselves build a strength that no one can take away. You can lose money, relationships, or opportunities. But if you've built strength and skill, you can rebuild it all again. And here's the most important part. Rescuing yourself builds confidence that nothing else can match. The first time you fix something on your own, you realize you don't need saving. The first time you achieve something no one believed you could, you realize your potential is far bigger than you imagined. That feeling, the feeling of earning your own victory, is worth more than any sympathy, any handout, any rescue. Because once you've saved yourself, no one can ever make you feel helpless again. You become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. So stop waiting for someone to notice your pain. Stop hoping that someone will see your worth and lift you up. Stand up for yourself. Take action, even when no one claps. Learn what you need to learn. Build what you need to build. And keep moving forward, no matter how slow it feels. Every day you act for yourself, you take one step closer to the life you want. You are your own rescue team. You are your own solution. The world doesn't owe you a savior. It gave you something better yourself. Look at your life right now. Every challenge, every disappointment, every sleepless night, it's been shaping you. It's been preparing you for this realization. No one is coming to save you. Not tomorrow, not next year, not when things get easier. Because you are the one you've been waiting for all along. Every person you admire, every success story you've ever heard, they didn't get there because someone handed them the way. They got there because one day they decided to stop waiting and start building. That's what this life demands. Not perfection, not luck, but personal responsibility. The day you accept that truth, everything changes. Stop waiting for signs. Stop waiting for motivation. Stop waiting for someone to notice your potential. The world won't slow down for your pain, but it will open up for your persistence. You've already spent enough time wishing, hoping, and talking. Now it's time to move. You don't need another promise, another push, or another chance. You need to use what you already have. You have time. You have strength. You have a mind that can learn and a heart that can fight. That's enough to start. That's always been enough. Yes, it's hard. Growth always is. There will be days when you doubt everything, when no one believes in you, when progress feels invisible, when it feels like nothing is working. But those are the moments that separate the weak from the unstoppable. When everything hurts and you keep going, that's when you're building the kind of strength that can't be destroyed. You don't grow when things are easy. You grow when you refuse to give up, even when it's hard. That's when you start to realize you were never powerless. You were just waiting for permission to see how powerful you already are. So from this moment forward, make yourself a promise. You will not wait to be saved. You will not hope for rescue. You will save yourself every single day by showing up, learning, growing, and doing what others are too afraid to do. Improve yourself until the world has no choice but to notice. Become so disciplined, so skilled, so strong that even your past can't recognize you. Because once you take control of your life, once you stop waiting and start acting, there's no limit to what you can build. No one will save you. But you don't need them to, because you have everything it takes right now to save yourself.